You're listening to a Frequency Podcast Network production.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
This is the Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Welcome to Thursday. My name is Brock.
I'm Dalby.
And a huge hell yeah. Welcome to episode 50, baby.
Oh, that's all right. We made it 50 whole episodes. I remember when management was like, you guys can't just do like 2 or 3 of these and then quit.
Dude, remember like when I started losing count after like 8 episodes in?
That was great. You would start every episode like, welcome to episode shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I lost count like real quick. 50, man.
Yeah.
It feels like some sort of accomplishment, I
don't
guess.
know
I don't know
why, because like it's a daily, but it's weekdays
We're
only.
Danny Heatley. We're 50 and 07, dude.
Oh.
We're the heater right now.
I'm on board for that.
Yeah.
Does that mean that it's been 10 weeks of doing this podcast? I don't understand the passage of time anymore. I have no bearing on what day or anything. Tomorrow is June.
Yeah, holy shit.
Right?
Yeah.
Or wait, Saturday. See? I don't
Is
even
there
know
31
what
or
tomorrow
30
is.
days in May?
I think we're in a 31.
Oh.
Saturday is June.
Damn.
Which, I'm sorry,
I haven't even gone golfing yet this year.
Really?
Yeah, I haven't gone golfing once.
One driving range trip. That's it. So I thought I was behind. I apparently got you beat. By the way, still suck at golf. In case you were wondering.
We'll check in 50 more episodes later. It might still be the same.
Good chance of that. Yep.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
I come bearing the greatest gift that I know that I can give to you, Brock, and that is a fresh new conspiracy.
Really?
Yeah. Did you know that there is a growing swell of conspiracy theories that sunscreen is a scam?
Sunscreen's a scam?
Sunscreen is a scam.
What are they saying? Like it's the government trying to get us to do something, or?
I haven't honestly been figured out where the conspiracy is targeted as to like why this would be a thing. But they're saying things like it just doesn't work. It's just a placebo. I've seen people say that sunscreen itself can cause cancer. Some people saying that when you wear sunscreen, it's actually bad for you because then when you go out without sunscreen, your skin's not used to the sun, to the UV radiation.
Like you're climatizing your skin or
Right.
whatever. Yeah.
It's like when you hear people talk about like, oh, you can't keep your kids in a bubble. They need to be exposed to germs so they don't get sick.
Yeah.
Same with the sun. This is a news report from a Australian TV channel. Listen to this statistic.
In a study conducted in America, 14% of adults under the age of 35 believe that wearing sunscreen every day is more harmful than direct sun exposure.
It's more harmful than if you were just to go outside and stand in the sun. 14% of under 35s believe that. And then there's another stat. These are all, by the way, from the Orlando Health Cancer Institute, who did this survey.
And in another poll of those aged 18 and 26, it found 28% didn't believe suntans cause skin cancer.
Like, we're just straight up telling scientists that they're lying to us at this point.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really wear that much sunscreen, so I can't.
Oh.
I can't even speak on the like.
They got to you.
I feel like if I read a bit of this, you might be able to get me. 'Cause,
Yeah?
like, I don't really wear sunscreen. Like, I'm one of those people that I feel like I don't really burn, so
Yeah.
which that's the thing that everybody who burns does say.
I was
but-
going to say, I have definitely seen you come in this room we're currently in with a sunburn before.
I get like one burn every summer, and then I got a nice base for the rest of the year.
See, meanwhile, I think I'm more like triggered by this idea of a conspiracy
Well,
theory.
you're pasty as hell, dude.
As an ultra white ginger, I'm like, no, the sun is the enemy and we must protect ourselves at all times.
You're like the number one demographic for people who buy sunscreen.
That's
so
I'm the guy.
I get how you fall into these traps.
I'm the street preacher standing on the corner wearing a giant hat telling people, repent, the sun is near.
Also, like, the whole thing is about wearing sunscreen every day. Like, does anybody actually wear? I mean, unless you work outside, I guess every day.
That's just it. I feel like if you work an outdoor job.
But even I'm sure you could poll like all the tradies and people that work outside. I guarantee you, not everybody wears sunscreen. Some of those guys got beautiful tans, man.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And that's the thing too. Like, even the thing about like, oh, if you don't wear sunscreen, your skin will get used to the sun. Like, I'm not a big tanning guy, but I'm familiar with like base tans and stuff like that.
Well, here's the thing, to play devil's advocate with
Okay.
you. Think about our ancestors who lived long before us. They didn't have sunscreen.
I think the key word that you're using incorrectly is lived long. Life expectancy wasn't great back then.
Sure. But it wasn't the sun that was killing them. It was like plagues and every other thing. I'm just saying, the more we talk about it, the more I'm falling into this conspiracy, actually. Like,
You're on board. You're
kind of getting on board with it.
You're against big sunscreen.
How expensive is sunscreen now, dude?
Not that expensive.
It's not cheap. For good sunscreen? Oh, my God.
These are always the dangers. I love bringing you a good conspiracy theory, but it was bound to happen that eventually I might lose you to one.
No, this all makes sense, man. Send me some more YouTube videos.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
I literally had somebody saying I'm shilling for big ointment. Talking about sunscreen.
I don't know. The more we talked about it, the more I am anti-sunscreen now this morning.
If you missed it, there's been studies and reports that say that young people, especially under the age of 35, think that not only is sunscreen unnecessary, but in some cases, life-threatening and a scam, which is crazy to me.
Well, I mean, I've got a lot of scientists here on the text line that are texting in all the stuff that is in sunscreen. I mean, I'm not going to start listing all this stuff on because I don't want to be the media person that scares people or anything.
Sure.
But, I mean, I'm sure, like, depending on the company and all that kind of stuff, like, probably some sunscreens are better than others. But, like, I just don't use it. And there's an amazing amount of people that are just like me. 50 years I've never used sunscreen.
Yeah.
Since 65 years old, never used sunscreen. 60 years old, never used. The amount of people that aren't using sunscreen and are all right, you know? Like,
I think, first of all, someone called it ginger juice, and I think that's a hilarious description of sunscreen. But, like, that's the thing. It's like, for me, for my kids, we're all very fair people. So if we don't sunscreen, we burn. And when we burn, it doesn't turn into a tan. We don't come out of it on the other end looking all olived up and looking good. We just go back to being super pale. So for us, sunscreen is our only way of life. It is how we survive the summer months.
or you just hang out in the shade, I guess.
Well, yeah, it's sunscreen, it's hats, it's umbrellas in the summertime.
Yeah.
We're essentially Michael Jackson over here.
Yeah.
Trying to hide out from the ball of fire.
I will say to the argument that it's like you need to wear sunscreen not to burn. No, you just got to be conscious. I think is the other thing. Is like it's like cooking your food.
Right.
You can burn your food if you overcook it, right? If you're aware of how long you've been out in the sun, just being conscious and stuff like that, then you're going to be all right.
Well, yeah, no, obviously, I'm not saying like you have to have sunscreen or you'll die, but at the same time, if I know I'm going to be outside for a long period of time, if I'm going out on a boat or something like that, I got to bring the sunscreen because the odds are good. I'm going to be in the sun more often than not. And I would rather not be in agony for the next 2 weeks.
There's also, and I don't mean to be gross here, there's also something enjoy about peeling off your skin.
You know what?
It's the closest I'll ever get to being like a lizard or like a snake or something, you know?
You say it, and it does sound disgusting, but you are 100% correct.
I think we all did that thing in school where you took the Elmer's glue and you put it on your hands and you tried to peel it off. It's the same when you get a sunburn, dude.
It's the same as trying to peel an orange all in one go. It's pulling the plastic off a brand new flat screen TV. There's just something as human beings that we find incredibly satisfying about one good long pull. And if that happens to be some, like, I don't know, skin on your arm or something like that, then so be it.
That's the whole new year, new me, dude. Get your sunburn in, become a whole new person this summer.
Peel off a full layer, shed your skin, and move on into the new year as a new person.
Yeah, exactly.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
New trailer dropped for season 3 of The Bear. Have you ever watched that show?
I was dating a girl. We watched the first 3 episodes together, and then she binge watched the rest without me. And that's why we don't date anymore. Well, among other things.
Fair enough. Dude, that show gives me so much anxiety. Like, I watched the trailer last night.
It's very stressful.
Yes, chef.
Yeah.
Yes, chef.
It's a lot of attention, a lot of yelling.
If you don't know what The Bear is, it's a show that's on Disney Plus here in Canada. And, it's all about these people working in a kitchen and stuff. I won't give too much away. If you have ever worked in a kitchen before, I kid you not, you will get PTSD watching this show.
It feels very accurate for you as someone who spent a lot of time in kitchens. It feels right.
It gets so overwhelming. And that's one weird thing I hate about watching shows. I hate feeling anxious when I watch a show. Even when I watch the new trailer, It just seems stressful, dude.
Right.
Like,
I was like that with, and not that I have experience in the subject matter, but I remember when I was watching, especially like the final season of Breaking Bad.
oh my God, Breaking Bad, dude. That whole thing. Like,
Every episode, I just felt like once it was over, the end credits would go, and my body would just go like, okay, we can relax.
dude, I'd like finish watching that show and I'd feel like I needed to cover my tracks or I'm being followed or watched
you
or
nervous.
something. And yeah. Or like that, what was that Adam Sandler one? That Uncut Gems?
I still haven't watched that because, and I think you were one of the people told me, it's great, but it's super stressful.
He keeps making bets and he doesn't have the money for it. And you're
Yeah.
like, you're sitting there and you're almost gripping your chair. And I
Right.
mean, like, that's obviously is kudos to the actors and the director, all that kind of stuff.
that they
but-
can convey such a strong emotion with their performances, but at the same time, there's a reason that the most watched thing on Netflix is The Office. It's because people want to put stuff on and just turn their brains off.
But I also know that a lot of people can't watch The Office because of like they get that secondhand embarrassment. So there's like I think there's two types of people. You either get like stressed out watching stuff,
Yeah.
or you almost get that secondhand embarrassment. Courtney does that with a lot of shows that I watch.
You are right. I would have watched The Office start to finish about probably 10 times. There is one particular episode called Scott's Tots. It's about college kids. It's so cringy that I have never watched it after, I think, the second time. I can't do it. I skip it every time I binge watch that show.
Hell, dude, even there's times like you go to like an open mic or like a stand-up show or something, and like I get either stressed out or like secondhand embarrassment for someone else.
You see someone who's like, maybe they're doing, I used to go to a lot of open mic comedy shows out in Saskatchewan, and you would see somebody tell a joke that they thought was just going to kill, and it doesn't, and they freeze up, and I'm the guy in the crowd who's like, you got this, come on, pull it together. It's like, pull up the plane, we're crashing, pull up the plane.
Anyone with public speaking and stuff like that. Dude, I wonder, do you think anyone ever gets secondhand embarrassment with us? Like we're having like a really bad break or something and someone's just sitting in the car and they're like, oof.
Dude, have you not read the text line today?
This is the Brock and Dalby Podcast.
There's a new trend I keep seeing on TikTok and stuff like that I think is absolutely evil, genius, and amazing all at the same time.
I'm all for it.
Girls will go up to their boyfriend's, husband's, father, whoever it may be, and just absolutely trash them about their lawn cutting techniques. Here, listen to this.
But the last time you cut the grass, it was kind of bad though. Like the lines were kind of crooked.
No, they weren't.
Yeah, they were. Like
Well, in my front yard, I always cut them. I cut them like this a little. Like I cut them like curved a little bit because of going around the tree and around like some rocks and bushes. So
yeah, but there's correct ways to do that. Like they were like
I don't
really.
like doing it like that. I like how it looks when it's like that. That's why I do it. There's still lines. They're just around shit. So I like doing it.
That is a man who has been shattered on the inside.
Well, dude, I mean, if Courtney did the same thing to me, I'd immediately start getting defensive. I'd be like, who are you, dude? Like,
why don't you get out there and mow the lawn then?
I think there's certain things that you can say to like just about anyone that'll instantly make them, dare I say it, triggered.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you can hear it in his voice. The minute she says that about like the lines being crooked or whatever, he is immediately on the defensive, trying to back himself up, lying to himself that, well, that's just the way I like to do it.
Yeah, I mean, just in general, anyone doing like any handiwork or something, if you start correcting them on what they did, or if you go to, dude, it sucks when you have someone come over and they're like, here's what you should have done, and you're like, dude,
Yep.
step off for a second.
Right.
Like,
Or even if you're like, you're working on something, like you're cutting something or shading. Did you measure that? I don't need to hear that right now, all right? Don't bring that negative energy into the shop.
the best to do this at is golfing. Like,
Oh, God.
you can honestly like I get so pissed off when someone goes, you know what your problem is?
Yeah,
here?
yeah.
I used to have the same problem, and you're like, oh, dude, don't even with me. And especially when you're playing bad, and you're
Yeah.
like, the last thing I want right now.
It's quicksand. It should honestly be against the rules of golf if you're playing competitively to give the other person any kind of opinion about their shot shot, their swing, or their game.
Yeah.
Because you will ruin their day.
The worst is when you're paired up with like an absolute rando.
Yeah.
And they're in your group and then they start trying to give advice and you're like, listen, buddy, who knows you here?
Yeah,
Like,
we don't know each other well enough for you to be giving me advice right now. All right?
golfing, parking too would be another one, actually.
I don't want to hear from anybody. I don't want to hear from anybody inside the car. I don't want to hear from anybody outside the car. You don't like where the car ended up, where the lines are in relation to the wheels, you can get out.
Dude, just in general in driving. Like
Yeah.
when you're driving your car and someone's like going a bit fast and you're like,
You know, you're probably going to want to slow down. Our exit's coming up pretty soon. Yeah, no, I am aware of where the exit is, all right? I know where we're going.
762-555. What are things that you can say to just about anyone that'll instantly make them feel triggered?
You know what you do? Somebody maybe doing a little bit of backyard cooking. Just go up to him and be like, you're going to want to flip those soon.
Oh, yeah.
That's it.
You're going to get a spatula to the face, dude. If you start telling me how to cook, if you start telling me how to grill, oh, my God.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
It really does feel like we're about to trip and fall into summertime. And so I've been kind of looking up like stuff to do with the kids this summer. I want to try to get outside a little bit more, do a few more things. And I saw a report from a network you're probably familiar with, CHCH in Hamilton.
I always referred to it as Chich News,
Cha-cha.
when I grew up in Milton.
They did a report just the other day on summer essentials. I was like, oh, perfect. So they have a YouTube video, and I'm watching this. I'm like, got the notepad out. I'm ready to take notes, and noticed a bit of a theme to what they consider to be summer essentials. I'm going to play you a couple clips here.
This first one is free, okay? This is the Pluto TV app, and the Pluto TV app is fantastic because it has hundreds.
Isn't that
of live
free?
and
Yeah, it's a free app
That's the one I watched South Park on.
to stream content, and I was just like,
all right.
I don't know that a summer essential should be something you could sit inside and watch TV with.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, maybe you're out at a camp or a cottage or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a thing. What else do you have on the list, guys?
The next app, which I think is fantastic, this is Maple, and Maple is a fantastic healthcare option, a healthcare app.
This is where we're at in this country with healthcare. Is their summer essential is an app that lets you Zoom call a doctor.
Apps are essential, apparently. Okay. What else do they got?
On to number 3.
This is the Google Pixel 8 Pro.
A phone?
Yeah, it's a phone. It's straight up a phone. And their whole logic behind why you would suggest a $2,000 cell phone as a summer essential.
So it's great for summer photography.
You need to take pictures of your
This sounds
friends.
like just like one big ad, honestly.
brother.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Apple Watch. So the Apple Watch are fantastic. This is the series.
That's an Apple Watch. This isn't even a new thing.
Yeah.
This has been out for years.
These aren't summer essentials. This is just a newsletter.
That's all this is. Like, I'm watching this and I'm thinking like they're going to suggest like yard games or equipment for like if you're going out to the beach and stuff like that. And the whole thing is just one after another, just marching out all these tech items. And I'm a techie guy, but even I was like, what if you just go outside for a bit? What if you just take a walk?
Yeah. You know what a summer essential is that everybody needs? Air conditioning.
Dude, oh my God.
I can't stress that enough. If you don't have a good AC
Yeah.
unit, dude, splurge. That's an essential, man.
I caught myself the other day being like, oh my God, it's too cold in the house. And then when you're like, oh.
First world problem.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I would much rather be like, you know what, I'm going to go put on a heavier shirt than be like, oh my God, I'm sweating and dying in my own house.
I'd say air conditioning and a good cooler, dude.
Dude, yeah, it's
A good cooler makes it like Courtney balled out and bought one of those Yeti coolers. I was mad at her. It was pretty expensive.
Yeah.
Dude, that thing's a beast.
First time you take it outside, you go, oh no, I get it now.
Dude, like 6 hours later, you're like, these beers are still cold? This ice hasn't melted yet?
I've still got the old blue Coleman with the white flip over top that
Yeah,
only
yeah,
holds
yeah.
about maybe 6 cans and a couple juice boxes for the kids. So I'm jealous of your Yeti cooler.
The real essentials is a good cooler,
Yeah.
air conditioning, some ice, some beer, maybe some bug spray.
You know what's a summer essential that people don't talk about? Chairs. Chairs. You cannot have enough deck chairs, camping chairs, beach chairs, whatever it might be. If you're going to host people, if you're going to spend a lot of time outside, you need chairs that are comfortable to sit in.
At least a good stump, you know?
Yeah, you know what? Actually, true.
Yeah.
Just like a good circle of stumps around a fire pit. Now we're having summer times.
I know my people that worked in the kitchens will respect when I say this. A summer essential, and if you've never done it before, keep some baby powder on you.
Gold Bond, baby. Gotta see. You just got to dabble around in different parts that maybe rub together.
Summer essentials, swaths, dude. You got to prevent the swaths.
That's what I was going to say. The swaths is not the essential, but it is coming, and you need something to fight it.
Absolutely.
The Brock and Dobby Podcast.
Everybody needs to get rid of the baby powder and the cornstarch.
Okay.
You need to go get antiperspirant deodorant and rub that everywhere on the skin that rubs together.
like a stick of Degree?
Like a stick of antiperspirant, man. I'm telling you. I drywall, and we have a 50-degree rule. We don't go until it's 50 degrees in the house.
I like that. Any sort of anti-sweat technology will prevent the sweat.
Right.
I like where your head's at.
Man, I put more antiperspirant on my nuts than I do on my armpits. All over. And my wife actually told me about it because when she was pregnant, thick boobs get bigger. So it rubs on their,
Sure.
We're good.
We get it.
Right? So she would put antiperspirant underneath her boobs, and it would stop from getting rashes in there. I'm telling you, man, a stick antiperspirant, it's life changing.
Dude, that is a game changer, and also, I mean, just to get rid of the smell is beautiful too.
True.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, man, it's incredible.
I ask you this, as somebody who has a couple of different hair trimmers, let's just say, one for the beard and one for other things. Do you have to have two separate deodorant sticks, one for the pits and one for getting in, or do you just, is it all the same?
All the same. If I really don't want to smell, if I party till 5 in the morning and I got to drive somewhere at 9, I put my ball deodorant right on my neck.
Desperate times call for desperate measures,
That's right, man.
That's a new one,
Honestly, that is one of the things about summertime is it brings out the creativity or maybe desperation in people. People come up with incredible life hacks whenever summer comes around. I think probably the one that I use the most is one that I got from you of knowing if it's going to be a hot day. Maybe throw a pair of boxers in the freezer for a little bit.
Dude, that's a game changer, honestly.
It honestly changed my life last summer.
If you feel like you get
it.
really hot when you sleep, throw your boxers, your briefs, and put a little water in them, throw them in the freezer at night, or an hour or two before you go to bed.
Right. Changes the entire game. Also seeing the way people will rig up, we talked about coolers. You get those styrofoam coolers, put some ice in it, the way that people will line up little box fans and stuff to build their own AC units. Even I saw one the other day. Do you know what, panty liners for women's underwear and stuff like that?
Okay.
They're saying if you work outside where pit stains might be an embarrassing thing, you can put those in your armpits to protect. You're still going to sweat.
Sure.
But it protects the shirt so that nobody knows that you're a sweaty mess.
I'm not going to lie. I'd rather have pit stains than be caught with panty liners.
Well, you just don't let people know.
Sure.
The Brock and Dobby Podcast.
Talking about looking cool, I had this massive craving for the first time since I quit smoking when I was driving home yesterday because I saw a guy just walking along, chomping on a big stogie, and I was like, that guy looks so cool. And it got me thinking, there are just some things that people, you just look cooler when you're doing it. Obviously, it's the James Dean, you look cool when you're smoking, Steve McQueen, all that stuff. But what are other things that are sort of universally you just look cool if you're doing that well?
If you got hot girls around you.
That is a big help.
I mean, you can be the ugliest dude in the world, but if you got a plethora of beautiful women around you, I feel like your market price just goes through the roof automatically.
Absolutely. And I do think that works the other way. If you are a lady that walks in and you've got a bunch of handsome men sort of on your side, I feel like there's an equation there.
Sure.
I feel like it still works.
Yeah. I mean, I just think about how many guys just have boats that look 10 times cooler.
Honestly, I'll say sailing or driving a boat generally makes you look a little cooler.
Depending on the boat, for sure.
Obviously, there are some boats that don't work.
Like if you got a yacht, if you're yachting,
dude,
absolutely.
It doesn't matter what you look like or your personality. People assume you're cool if you've got a yacht. I would also say if it's got sails that you need to like rig as you go, you kind of look cool.
Yeah.
I would also say, going back to like having like hot chicks, hot guys on you, if you are dressed like in like a suit or a tux or like a dress or something like that, and it's like a nice one, you immediately get cool points.
Yeah, it depends where you are, though.
Is there a bad place to wear a suit?
Sometimes it's weird. Sometimes you see people wearing suits and you're like, what are you doing? And then like all of a sudden you see the fedora come out and you're like,
fedora is where it falls off.
Yeah.
You get a nice well-tailored suit.
Yeah.
I think you immediately get cooler. You put the fedora on and it goes back down.
Yeah, but like you see a dude roll into like East Side Mario's or something, wear a suit, and you're like, what are you doing?
I actually think that would be kind of a baller move. I don't know why, but I feel like if you walked in unironically, not trying to call attention to yourself, and just sat down and manja'd at an East Side Mario's in a suit.
I don't know if anyone's looking over and being like, look at that cool guy over there. They're like, what the hell is that guy doing?
Hey,
you know?
A little mystery never hurt.
There's a fine line between being cool and like trying hard. Do you know what I mean?
That is the thing. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe the key to cool is effortlessness. If you don't look like you're trying to be cool, you're immediately cooler.
Well, I mean, like, cool people don't talk about being cool.
Right. We can have a scientific discussion.
No, but I'm just saying, like, cool people never are like, I'm pretty cool right now, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's the biggest thing.
You need other people to say it for you. And that does include by your actions, because you're right. There's specifically, like, stating, oh, yeah, I'm really cool. But there's also doing things that maybe screams, I think I'm cool.
Like, if you can walk away from an explosion and not look back, that's pretty cool.
I just want to do it once in my life. And I've never been given the opportunity, and I think it's irresponsible to cause the explosion myself.
If you can fire 2 guns while jumping, like, sideways through the air, that's pretty damn cool, right?
Do we have anybody with, like, land and guns that's willing to let us come hang out for a bit, see if that works?
If you can sit with your dog and it doesn't leave you...
Dude,
that's pretty cool. If you're at a party and the dog comes over to you, that's pretty cool.
Oh, that is a good sign. If somebody comes in the room and the dog immediately goes over to them without knowing anything about them, you go, I bet that person is pretty awesome.
If you can pet a dog and it doesn't walk away from you, that's such a nice feeling, dude.
This is the Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Ed's word of the day.
See what he's got.
Good morning. Today's word is disport. Yeah, disport. D-I-S-P-O-R-T. Disport. And it's to frolic or to display. I'm not really sure what those two, frolicking and displaying, have in common, but whatever. Anyways, have a great one. Cheers, you're up.
Disport.
I feel like it just means like you're just having a good time. It's the old saying, a dance like no one's watching. That's disporting.
Yeah, I gave it a Google. It said enjoy oneself unrestrainedly.
Yeah, I like to think that this show is a lot of us disporting. You know, we're just having a good time from 5:30 to 9.
Hanging out with the fellas or the ladies, just disporting around.
You know, it's Thursday. We're so close to the weekend. Take some time somewhere in the weekend to disport a little bit.
Dude, I can't wait. Courtney's going away this weekend. When she calls me, what are you doing? I'm just going to be like, just disporting.
Just disporting around.
She's going to ask me what that means. They're like, if you got to ask, you don't know.
Yeah, someone doesn't listen to Ed's word of the day, apparently.
Yeah. Having a few drinks, just disporting, you know?
Just, you know what? Not a care in the world. Disporting away on the couch in the backyard. Might even go downtown for a little disportment.
Text your buddy and be like, what are you up to this weekend? You want to disport? And see what they say. Disport. Use it wherever you can, and I hope you disport today, honestly.
Absolutely. Honestly, looking out the window, what a perfect day for a little disporting.
For more Brock and Dalby, tune in weekday mornings 5:30 to 9.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast is brought to you by badshop.ca, the Brock and Dalby merch store, with all proceeds going to the Canadian Cancer Society.